Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a video featuring the Hero Arts My Monthly Hero for October 2023. Now I'm playing with the premium kit, which includes all of the products from the classic kit, plus 4 fancy word dies, 3 mini peekaboo fancy dies, a swirl snow clear stamp set, a Nordic layering clear stamp set. You're also going to get 4 sheets of pitch black cardstock measuring 5.5 by 8.5, 4 sheets of white slate winter blue and frosted blue cardstock, also measuring 5.5 by 8.5, as well as 20 vellum snowflakes. So let's go ahead and get into the card. So for today's card, I decided to use the large layering dies. These dies built up to make a gorgeous scene. Now, off camera, I went ahead and I die cut out the trees as well as the little hill that goes behind it. I did double stack these to give them a little bit of weight. And now we're going to pull in our back panel. With this back panel, I decided to use one of the stamp sets from the additional or in the premium kit. So this is a stamp set that you're going to get in the premium kit, and I'm going to use some of the snowflakes. Now, if you go over to my blog, you'll also see a card I made with one of the add-ons, and this is where I was inspired by the color palette for today. So make sure to go over to the blog and you'll be able to see that card. I start off by placing my cardstock into my MISTI, and then I'm going to grab several of the snowflakes. Now, what's so great about these premium kits is that it allows you to extend what you can do with your classic kit. So there's several ways you can sign up for these kits and subscribe. You can do the classic kit, you can do the premium kit, and then don't forget about all of those add-ons. Ones that you can purchase separately to have a little bit more play with your kit. Now, before I stamped, I did make sure to dust off my cardstock with a little bit of anti-static powder, just in case I start pouring on my embossing powder and there's a lot of static to this cardstock. Once I have everything inked up, I can press that down. Now, what you could do at this point is you could just leave it like this and just have like watermarks in the background. But I wanted to pull in some gold. So here I am using my Hero Arts gold embossing powder. And I'm going to go ahead and set that all around onto those snowflakes. I'll tap off any extra and be able to pour that back into my jar. Now, all the products I'm using today will be listed below. So don't forget to look at the links that I have in the description box. All right, once I went ahead and I add the embossing powder to this first layer, I decided not to heat set, and that's for several reasons. I want to keep as much bowing or warping down onto my cardstock. So if I can line up additional snowflakes at this point, add the embossing powder, and then heat set this all at once. That's going to allow me just to have like one pass instead of 2 passes with my heat gun. So all I did was arrange those same 3 snowflakes onto different parts of the card. I'm going to stamp them in that embossing ink. And then at this point, I can go ahead and sprinkle on a little bit more of that embossing powder. Once I have the embossing powder on this time, I can go ahead and heat set this. And once this is heat set, you're going to see that my paper really didn't bow too much because I made sure to heat set after I had all 6 of these snowflakes on here. So after I had these 6, I can go ahead and line up my piece to see where else I might need to add some snowflakes. I grabbed the snowflakes off of my MISTI door, and I did bring in the top panel piece, the piece that will go on top of this, just to line everything up where I can see those added snowflakes need to be. Now, you don't have to do this. You can totally stamp out your snowflakes wherever you want them on your card. I was just being a little bit anal today. Just want to make sure everything lined up in the areas in which I needed. So now I can go ahead and remove that top portion because it was only there for a guide and go ahead and stamp these snowflakes again. Now, I really love this color combination. And like I said, I have a card over on a blog that has the same color combination. So I'm trying to get into when I'm making cards and I need to make more than one for a release. I think I might do them all in the same color palette. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. Now, once I have this heat set, I'm going to have these gorgeous snowflakes. But I wanted to add some splatter to this. So I'm going to try a technique that I have not tried in a very, very long time. I'm going to grab a paintbrush and some water. I just have a fine tip paintbrush here. I grabbed the bottle of water that I keep handy on my desk. And all I'm going to do is take the paintbrush, dip it into the water, and I'm going to add in some flecks. Now, I am using regular cardstock here, and that's okay. I'm not going to get any warping with this. I just try to put as many of those white splatter marks or water splatter marks as I can. Once I have them there, I can go ahead and quickly grab the gold embossing powder and sprinkle this on. Now, what's so cool about using the water is going to act like our embossing ink, and you'll be able to heat set this gold embossing powder just using the water. So I have my heat gun on and I have it on high because the water takes a little bit longer to dry than the embossing ink. So also keep that in mind. So once I have this all heat set, look, I have this gorgeous gold splatter and I only used water to do it. Think it looks awesome. All right, let's go ahead and start building up the card. So I have my top piece here. I have the green part that I had below, but now I need to add a sentiment. So within this month's kit, you're also going to get some word dies. I decided to use the Happy Winter because I have so much going on with this card. There was no way I was going to be able to place a sentiment anywhere. So I love the option of having these dies. Now, I did want to use some of that green cardstock that I used to trim down the back part of my card, the green part of my card, I should say. So I just went ahead and grabbed that. I can go ahead and use my scissors and trim this down so it would fit through my die cutting machine. So remember, when you have those scrap pieces of paper, use them to your advantage. They're perfect for die cutting out small sentiments like this. I'll go ahead and bring in my Hero Arts compact cutter, place that onto my grit mat, and now I can go ahead and run this through. Now, I did run this die through my little die cutter several times because this sentiment is very, very thin as far as the font goes and the font size. So I wanted to build this up so I can have a really sturdy sentiment. Once I ran that through, I went ahead and started stacking. So I have three layers here. I have one layer that's done in white, and that's behind the green cardstock. And then I have two layers of green. By using my tweezers, it comes in really, really handy for me to get these more delicate sentiments to layer on top of each other. And once I have them layered, I make sure just to pick them up to clear out any excess parts of the die that didn't pop out, like in the A. I still had a little bit of the A left. My little paperweight on there and let that sit. Now I did go ahead and put together the back part of our card so you can see just how gorgeous this is. And I am using my little acrylic uh, paperweight to kind of press that down. Look how gorgeous this is. So let's go ahead and bring back in that sentiment. So I have my sentiment and they're stacked and I'm going to place those towards the bottom of my card. But I did decide that I wanted to have a little bit of gold on this. So this is another technique that I don't use very often and I should because it looks so pretty. I'm using my embossing pad just to scrape it along the bottom parts of the letters. I'm not trying to be too careful. I'm not trying to make sure anything's lined up perfectly. I just want to get some of that ink across the bottom of the word. Now I can bring back in my gold embossing powder. And now I'm going to go ahead and dip this in. And this is going to give my sentiment a little bit more interest by having a light little coating of gold across the bottom. Now, I did pick up my tweezers because it was a little bit easier to go ahead and lift these out of the embossing powder. And with my paintbrush, I went ahead and removed any excess that I did not want. Now all I have to do is go ahead and heat set this. Another great way to use those tweezers is to go ahead and use them to hold onto your little dies like this. So once this is heat set, look how pretty that is. It just has that little bit of hint of gold that we already have on our background, and I just brought it up to these sentiments. Now, once this is heat set, I'm going to have a really, really pretty sentiment pulling in a little bit of that gold towards the bottom of my card. Now I can go ahead and add my sentiments. Again, I'm using those trusty tweezers. And I did want to show that I do dab off a little bit of the excess of the glue so it does not get all onto the back of my card. Now I can go ahead and lay that down, and we have our first sentiment, and look how pretty those sentiments look with having just that little bit of gold. Now I'll add my little block here to have that hang out for a minute while I go ahead and set up my next sentiment here. Now, don't forget that Hero Arts does have a giveaway going on, so make sure that you swing by the Hero Arts blog as well as ours blog, leave some comments, share some love, and you will be entered for the giveaway. Now I have that glue in there. I can go ahead and tap off any extra and place that down. I really, really love how this card came out, and the design team has done an amazing job showcasing this. And I really have a feeling that this kit's gonna sell out. Now, I did want to go ahead and place this onto a white card base. And you guys know me, I love my Hero Arts side folding cards. They're already white card bases ready for you to put your project right on top. And they're super, super handy to have in your stash when you don't feel like having to cut down your own cardstock. I keep a couple of packs of this off to the side in the bottom of my desk drawer just for me to have on hand if I don't feel like cutting out my card bases. I can go ahead and layer that onto the top. And then we have this gorgeous card. Excuse my big old head. I just need to get over to make sure everything was lining up. Now, once I had this done, I felt like, I want to add a little bit of red towards the bottom of the card. I need to pull that color down. So I'm going to grab my enamel dots. Now, this enamel dot is a little bit too red. I'm going to show you how to change that up a little bit. If you have an enamel dot that's not the right color red, grab a deeper color alcohol marker and color on top of it. And then you'll get your custom color. I went ahead and pulled those off, placed those down onto my card, and look how gorgeous this card turned out. All right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will see you guys in another video soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.